Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot. I hope everybody's well. I'm recording this video on Sunday morning, and this is my first video sort of recording and reflecting back on my week of the first week with the Drop 'em 78 Tarot Challenge for 2024. And this was started by Esther at Mindful Tarot, and I think this has been running for a number of years. I think lots of people have done it. This is my first go at this. I'm obviously not new to tarot, but I'm new to this challenge, and I thought I'd have a go really, just because I've moved house this summer. There's been a lot going on really this summer. I've had quite a lot of ups and downs in my personal life. There's been some struggles with health problems in my family, including myself, and all of these things really all together have just meant that I've just not felt very creative really, and have struggled to sort of be focused on anything. I mean, I've still enjoyed my tarot cards through the summer, but I haven't done any serious study with them. I've only really sort of played with them, I guess. And I like to study. You know, I'm a Virgo sun and moon, and I do like to study. I like to be focused, and I like to sort of get my teeth stuck into something. So I thought I'd have a go at this, because this challenge is obviously for 78 days, and it takes us through from the 15th of October, I think was the day I started, and it will take us through till the 31st of December, so the end of the year. So, and also it gives me the opportunity to really get to know a couple of fantastic decks, and the decks that I chose in the end for this challenge, I'd had this deck, the Goliath Tarot, in my mind for some time with this deck, because I've had this deck for 6 months or so, I think, really, and been fascinated by it. But every time I'd sort of looked at the guidebook of all of this very small writing, it just overwhelmed me really, to be honest. And other than flick through it, I've really kind of not used this deck at all. It's such a beautiful deck. I've got a second edition. I bought this actually second-hand on eBay. Somebody was selling it as used, but I mean it was in perfect condition, and I got it for a really good price in the UK, obviously without having to pay all the shipping, so I was really happy about that. So that is my main deck, and the idea is that every day I will journal from one of the cards, starting at the Ace of Pentacles, going all the way through, and then I can't remember the order of the other minors, and then we finish with the World card on the 31st of December. But in my journal every day, and this is the little journal that I'm going to use, I shall show you my first day. So this was Tuesday, October the 15th, and it was the Ace of Pentacles, obviously, and I'm doing the 4D. You can either do a 3D challenge or a 4D, but I'm doing the definition, the detail, how it's related to my day, and then the discovery, which is actually to compare it with another deck. And the other deck that I've chosen is the Curious Travels Tarot deck. And I was planning on using the Oak Ashen Thorn, because I thought the darkness of the Goliath and the beautiful sort of pure whiteness and earthiness of the Oak Ashen Thorn might be a good combination, and they probably would. But I saw this deck on Simon's channel, and it's one I'd looked at a little bit on Amazon and Oneness Emporium and various places, and I don't know what it was, but something about the box didn't appeal to me. This picture, it just didn't really do anything for me, and so I'd sort of passed it by. But when I saw Simon do a walkthrough of it, I just fell in love with this deck. I really did. So when it came, I thought, well, I'm going to use this as my comparison deck. So as I said, we've got detail, definition, or definition first, a detail on the card, how the card relates to your day, and then the comparison with this, with the second deck. So let's show you my cards. And what I want to do every week, really, at the end of every week, is to just show you the cards that I've looked at in the week, and just, you know, a brief little bit from my journaling, really. And this is just as much of a record for me of my progress and my journey with these cards as it is for the viewer. So, you know, feel free to put this on double speed and you don't have to listen to all my wafflings. But I hope that you do, and I hope that you say hello. And it'd be fantastic to hear if you're doing this yourself. I'm actually not on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else. I do have a Facebook account and I have some friends on there that I chat to, but I don't do anything else with social media. I don't really enjoy social media, so it's enough for me to do a weekly video on YouTube, I think. So anyway, the first two cards, the Ace of Pentacles, I love these, really. I mean, the definition of the Ace of Pentacles for me is abundance, money. I've written fortune favours the brave. It's new beginnings, feeling secure and grounded, focusing on your goals, focusing on your health, your family, your career, and really sort of growing in the physical realm. So that was my definition. And for the detail, I sort of honed in really on the sharpness of the talons here of this bird of prey. And they made me really think that this bird has really taken control, hasn't it? It's taken up the pentacle, and it's like a determined effort. It felt like to me that, you know, the bird would be very keen not to drop that pentacle, because that pentacle means food for its babies. It's kind of nourishment, isn't it? And when I was comparing the two cards, I'd looked at this one and I'd sort of thought this hand had burst out of the earth, is how it looked to me. But actually, on reading the guidebook, this hand has come out of a cloud, and it's reaching into the air after the pentacle. And so I liked, in my comparison, what I kind of liked really was that in the Goliath deck here, this bird is it's sort of grasping, isn't it? It made me feel that it was more of a masculine thing. It was a grasping and a taking of that pentacle. Whereas in this Curious Travels deck, it felt more that the hand was reaching rather than grasping. And that felt more feminine, perhaps, more nurturing. I don't know. That was just my feeling, really. And I also liked that in this deck, you know, the hand is coming out of the clouds, which might represent air. So we've got the combination of earth and air, of effort and ideas. And that's a good way to look at the Ace of Pentacles, isn't it, really? How this related to my day, I've written down that this made me laugh, really, because on this day I went out for lunch with my mum and dad, and my mum, she's like the baby bird in this card, that it's like she must be fed. My mum becomes hangry if she's not fed regularly. So whenever I see my mum and dad, either I have to cook us some food or we go out for a meal, because I don't think my mum could come over even for a couple of hours and not be fed. So that did make me laugh, really. And like I said, this card obviously represents that focus on health and family, and I spent the day with my mum and dad, with my family, and a lot of what we talked about was health issues, because unfortunately my mum's not very well. My dad's been poorly for quite some time, really. He's doing a little better on some medication that he's on, but my mum is not great at the moment, and she's going to have an operation early in November that we're all really hopeful will sort her out and she'll be, you know, back to her usual self again. But obviously it's all been a bit of a worry. So there, yeah, that's the Ace of Pentacles. Today I think we've only got 5 cards to look at, because obviously it was a short week, wasn't it? And I haven't written anything much down for today, Sunday, as yet. I'll do that towards the end of the day. So with the 2 of Pentacles, with the definition here, this is the juggling snake. I've written balance, responsibilities, handling challenges and opportunities, sort of mental and physical opposing forces that can be brought into alignment. Energy flowing around you is the feeling that I got from this card as well. And for the detail of this, I focused in really on the fact that the snake is in the shape of an infinity symbol, isn't it? Which we also see in the Strength card and the Magician cards. And it's about being in the flow, isn't it? And mastering your own energy. In comparison with this card here from the Curious Travels, in this one the boy has sort of become a skilled multitasker, hasn't he? He's even grown extra arms. Both cards have got the infinity symbol with the pentacles inside. And I sort of noticed in this card that the snake is sat on a sort of dry, cracked, sort of scorched earth, maybe like a desert. Whereas the boy, from the book reading, because it was difficult to know what this actually is here, but the boy is standing in front of a dark body of water. And I thought that both of these things actually represent some kind of struggle or hardship, don't they? Perhaps a danger that needs to be overcome or mastered in some way. And what I'd written about my day with these 2 cards is that I actually did have to deal with some conflict on this day, last Wednesday. I've recently had my patio redone, which I'll show you actually at the end of the month in another video. And the men that came and did it, I'd initially thought had done a really good job, but it turned out that they didn't finish it very well. They just brushed sand. They swept sand into the cracks, and it rained and the sand ran out. Surprise, surprise. I mean, just awful. So I had to have them back to come and put this sort of compound in that will set hard and yeah, will last, you know, a proper job, a proper finish. And I really dislike conflict with other people. I'm quite capable of being articulate and assertive, but I find often that depending on who I'm dealing with, I can become dysregulated emotionally quite quickly if I am triggered or upset in any way. And so for me, to have to deal with conflict with people is definitely the balancing act that I've been talking about here, of having to sort of master my own energy and my thoughts, my feelings and my words and my actions, and that can be quite exhausting sometimes. So yeah, they did finish the patio really nicely for me, but I didn't enjoy that day really. So yeah, so the next cards are the 3 of Pentacles, and my definition of the Three of Pentacles would be this is about collaboration and teamwork, having a good work ethic, learning together, listening to others, learning to delegate, learning how to complete a task, maybe being an apprentice, being organised and responsible. And this is the three wise masters. And the detail with this card, I just thought this card is quite dark, isn't it? I'm not really keen on the animals in the long gowns here. It's kind of satanic looking for me. They all look a little bit fierce, don't they? Even the gorgeous horse here. And they've got, I think, what is a wolf cub sat in front of them, who's obviously learning something from these other animals. And I suppose when I focused in on this, I focused in on the gowns because I suppose I really wish that they weren't wearing them, to be honest. But these gowns represent that higher learning and status, don't they? They could be sort of university lecturers. So yeah, I think the gowns represent some kind of higher learning or status, but I still don't especially like looking at them. And I've written here, make sure you choose your teachers carefully. In comparison, in the Curious Travels deck, we've got the orcas here that are working as a team, I think, aren't they? And there's a kind of a feeling of strength in numbers with this card. But also, just like we've got the antelope, the buffalo and the horse here, and the little wolf, all of these orcas will have their own strengths and skills, and they all bring something unique and different to the party, don't they? So yeah, even though we've got three orcas there and three different animals, I think it's that same energy, isn't it? Is that the orcas will all bring something different. They'll all bring a different experience. And how this related to my day, this was Thursday in the week, and I spent much of that day on my own preparing food, and I was watching videos on my phone while I was cooking in the kitchen, and I was watching Susie Gemini's video. She's got a new channel called Tartaria with Love, and Susie's normally an astrologer that you'll see on YouTube, but she's interested in Tartaria, which I am greatly. And I sort of, while I was watching that, I was just thinking about really how much all of us on YouTube collaborate and learn from each other. We all bring something different. We're all unique in our own way. And we all actually learn a lot from each other, I think, even without knowing it. You know, just from watching how other people read their cards, people's different thoughts and feelings, the other things that people are interested in and talk about. I think that just watching these videos often just sets off a thought process, doesn't it? And like I said, we all bring something quite unique to the table. So I think on YouTube we do have quite a lot of that Three of Pentacles energy, really, which is really nice. So, oh, have I managed to get that there? And how have I managed to get that there? I haven't got my cards in order, have I? There we go. I don't know how the Knight managed to get there. So the Four of Pentacles, we've got two more cards to go. So the Four of Pentacles, this was Friday, and this is the Prudent Mountain Goat, this card here. And my definition of the Four of Pentacles is being overly concerned with the material, really, possibly greedy, having things one-sided, holding on to things, maybe separating yourself, trying to be in control, trying to get stability. Could be saving up, which is not necessarily a bad thing, or putting structure in your life. but it's definitely a protective and quite isolated energy, I think, which we can see in both of these cards. And when I focused on the detail of this card, I don't know whether you can see, hopefully, on the other mountain there, so we can see the goat there with his feet on his pentacles on his own mountain. Oh, blimey, the weather outside is shocking. We're having some kind of storm today. We've got quite strong winds and rain. So I'm glad we did some gardening yesterday and not today. But yeah, anyway, on this other mountain here, you can see a couple of other goats that are together, and they're kind of sharing their food and resources, whereas this goat is all alone. And I thought that these goats over here perhaps might enjoy more of a sense of belonging and connection and cooperation, and might sort of look after each other and share their resources. So that was my focusing on the detail, really, was that it might be more preferable to be on that mountain. My comparison was that there's a very similar feeling from both of these cards, really, about keeping yourself separate. You know, this boy here is up above everybody else, holding on to all his pentacles. He's got his back to everybody else. He's got his back to the sun, which represents that passion and joy and pleasure in life. And he's kind of got his head down. He's withdrawn. He's closed to other people. You know, both of these goats here have their, well, the goat and the person, they both have their backs to others. He has his back to the sun. They're both walking a lonely path, aren't they, really? They've both kind of lost sight of what's important in life. And I think with the Four of Pentacles, there's a big feeling of fear, isn't there? Fear of loss, fear of lack. So yeah, they're quite difficult cards, I think, actually, those two. And actually, this card is the worst of the week by a long shot. The Five of Pentacles here. Terrible, terrible card. I can't hardly even look at that card, to be honest. So this is the last card that I'm going to talk about today, because the Six of Pentacles is my card for today. And although I've written out my detail and definition and things, I obviously haven't written about how it's applied to my day yet. So I shall start with that card next Sunday. And it will be a full week of Sunday through to Saturday next time. But anyway, the Five of Pentacles here. This was actually my card for yesterday, for Saturday the 19th. And this card is called Hardship Mountain. And my definition of this card would really be despair and sadness and defeat. A period of hardship, not being able to see the way out. Being trapped in a negative cycle, financial or health worries, lost faith, needing a different mindset, really. And the detail in this card, well, I just find it so difficult to look at, to be honest. And for me, it was the sadness and defeat on the look of the horses' faces here. I can hardly bear to look at it. I'm very, very precious about animals and horses particularly, and this card here with all the crows circling, it's like these horses have just accepted their fate. It's unbearably sad. I can't bear to look at it, to be honest, and all I could think about really was that at least they have each other, at least they're not alone. Because it's not looking good, is it? It's really not looking good in that card. In comparison, although this card has a very dark and sad energy to it also, you know, we can see this boy is full of despair over his broken pentacle. And just like the horses, he's looking down, he's collapsed on the ground. But I felt that this card had more of a feeling of hopefulness about it, because the hands there are reaching out to him to help him and pull him up, unlike the crows in this card that are just waiting to feast on the horses when they die. So I think that these cards would both remind us really to look up and around us for help and hope in times of trouble. I suppose that's the only thing that might be positive about this card, is the sun's rays are coming through the clouds there and shining down on the horses, and that might indicate some kind of hope. But this card is very bleak and very difficult, isn't it? It's a very difficult card to look at. This card, as I said, has a very defeated energy about it, but there's help there. We can see that quite obviously with the hands, that even if he doesn't look up, those hands may well reach down and pull him up, you know. So how this reflected on my day yesterday, well, thankfully not at all, to be honest. If it did at all, it might be that I've had a really bad back all week. I've done a fair bit of gardening recently, and to be honest, my back hasn't been good since I moved house, because I just did too much lifting and moving, I think, and not enough stretching and looking after myself, and so my back and my neck has gradually got worse and worse over the last few months, and a bit of gardening I've done recently was awful. And last week I had about 3 days where I could hardly walk. I was staggering about and in quite a lot of pain, and I've started up my exercise routine in the morning again, my stretching routine, and so my back is feeling a little bit better. And I managed to do some gardening yesterday with Pete, my other half, yesterday. So yesterday was a really good and positive day for me. We did a lot of gardening, we got a lot done. We finished at a good time. We had a lovely Indian takeaway. We had some dark chocolate. We had nice things to drink. We watched a film. We had lots of cuddles. It was a really nice day. It couldn't be further from these cards here, I guess. So, so for me, that's a real positive, because I've had plenty of days of the Five of Pentacles energy. So for me, that was fantastic. So yeah, so that brings us up to today. And these are my cards for today. These are the Six of Pentacles. We've got the Sacred White Scale Bull, and then this card here with the scales also. So I've written already my my definition, my detail, and my comparison of the cards, but I have yet to write out about my day. So this will be the first card that I will start with in my video next Sunday, and I'll work my way through to Saturday, and hopefully not waffle on too long. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed listening to me and looking at my cards and my choices and my thoughts for the week. Like I said, please do say hello. I love to hear from everybody, and I will see you all again soon. Thank you.